My name is John Elliott, and this is Easy Acres.
Cause I gotta stay. Here
we have our Emax22s. So this unit is 22 horsepower, and it has, I think it's 1,300 pound lift capacity on the 3-point hitch with the PTO drive. It has a mid-mount and a rear-mount PTO. And then this one also has the front-end loader. I think it's rated at 900 pounds. And it's definitely stout. So I've heard some things. The reason I was looking at this one is, one, our local dealer presence is pretty strong on the Mahindras. So I like that if in the event that I need service, I can deal with the dealer locally instead of having to go somewhere far away to get it serviced. So you can tell that I've already used this unit quite a bit. I think it has almost 30 hours on it now. So I just wanted to, before I posted this video, I wanted to use it, see how it was going to perform, and then share with you guys my experience of the machine. So I do have to say, when I first bought this machine, I bought it brand new. I think it had 2 hours on it. This is a 2017 model that we actually purchased in 2019. So because the dealer had it on the lot for so long, they had some incentives and stuff that made this thing, again, I wanted it for the dealership presence, but then when it was incentivized with the new old stock, it really made sense for me. So purchased the product, brought it home, wasn't able to do stuff due to the holidays for a little bit, and then I went to go use it. It went into reduced power mode. So reduced power mode, it revs it to 1250 RPM, and it, all the functions still work, but this machine doesn't have that much power, and so at 1250 RPM, it doesn't have any power. So I contacted the dealership. Again, I'd only had it for a little bit at this time, maybe a week. They had me bring it in, checked it out. It ended up being the coolant temperature sensor just wasn't plugged in from the factory, or was a faulty connection, and so it was thinking it was overheating within 2 minutes of runtime, and then would put it in the reduced power mode. So they fixed that, and that was great. Okay, I get the tractor home, ready to use it. There was a coolant leak. On the trailer, before I unloaded it, I noticed that there was a little bit of a coolant leak. I traced it around. I contacted the dealership again. They said, bring it in, no problem. We're going to check it out and get it straightened out. So it turned out to be one of the coolant hoses. I don't know if it was from sitting on the lot for a couple years and not being run or anything, but anyway, it had a small coolant leak. They fixed that. Again, no problem. The real inconvenience was the time lost that I could have been using the machine, but as far as the service that was done, it was done how I wanted, and I had a loaner during that time, so I was still able to keep my production on the property up. It was just inconvenient because I didn't have the tractor that I bought. So anyway, after all that stuff, I was able to get it back. Hasn't missed a beat since. Fired it up that day, first day I got it back. It's been running every other day since then. So I'm going to go ahead and walk you through some of the features that I really like, and then a couple things that I've added, and then we'll see it working. One thing that I like about the Mahindra and the loader valve here is the location. So when you're operating the unit and you're steering, I think that this is a pretty convenient transition. And some of them are located down here on some of the other comparable tractors, and I just find that that's an awkward position for it, opposed to right next to the steering wheel. And then again, some of the other ones, the valves are located on the outside of the unit, or down below the step there. And on the New Holland I was actually using as the loaner, the valve assembly was located down underneath the unit, and it stuck out the side, and I was just always worried about hitting it on something. So that is a logical place to put that valve. So like I said, this is the 22S. It has the steel fenders and the steel hood. I think it's the 22L. It has an upgraded seat with some armrests, and then it also has maybe a quick change front bucket. So this one does not have the quick change front bucket, but I have added this tooth bar here. So this is a heavy hitch tooth bar. I'll put a link for it down in the description, but this thing is gnarly. If you can look at these teeth, I mean, so this is a 50-inch bucket, and I mounted that heavy hitch tooth bar to it. It's good because like I can still back drag and smooth stuff out if I just tilt the bucket so that those teeth aren't digging in. But as far as, you know, moving a bunch of material, those teeth, this bucket was useless without it, just because the machine only weighs 2,000 pounds, or, you know, close to, or maybe a little over 2,000 pounds with the loader and everything. So I like the convenience of the valve there. The 50-inch bucket is nice. Some of the other subcompacts don't have quite that big of a bucket. And then again, this one having a little bit stouter lift capacity, I find that is fine. I do have fluid-filled tires on this thing, so again, like due to the subcompact market and then not having very much weight, you want to try and add as much ballast as possible. So got the fluid-filled tires. This is a gear model, so you got your throttle here. It's like a foot throttle. You have your normal hand throttle up here. Your brakes both sides, so you can, you know, cutting brakes if you need to. Clutch over there. So the one drawback of the gear model, my loaner was a shuttle shift model, which is like pretty convenient because you just set it in the gear you want, the range you want, and then you just forward and reverse. So I do have to, you know, basically come to a complete stop when going into reverse. But as I get more experience with the machine, I'm getting smoother at doing that. This is a Harbor Freight quick hitch attachment. I'm going to do a separate video on this and like the modifications that I need to do to make it work for my application, but there's a ton of posts out there on the internet about how to make this work, so that's a separate thing. We have the high and low range. Again, I was talking about, we have the rear, mid, and mid PTO, and then you have the options to select all those. This is the 4-wheel drive model. That's one thing, is these little tractors, if it was not 4-wheel drive, it would be completely useless, especially with the front end loader and nothing hanging off the back. You really run into ballast issues with if you try to pick anything up. Those rear tires aren't doing too much. So I'll go ahead and show you how we pop the hood on this thing. So right here, it does have a pretty substantial brush guard compared to the other subcompact tractors. So you just push that little lever down there. You got a lever on this side. That's the same thing. You just push it down, and then, sorry for the, over here there's a pull down tab that pops the hood. So once you have those two loosened, you fold this out of the way. Oh, I guess I pushed it back down. Then you lift the hood up out of the way, and there you go. A bunch of, can't see very good in there, but that's a little 22 horsepower engine in there. You got your air filter over here. You know, typical equipment, you want to check that about every run series. It does have the removable screen in front of the radiator, so you can take that and clean it out. This one had a new battery put in it just because it had set for so long. And then the hose that I had an issue with, can't see it, so, but it's down in there. So I like the convenience of that. I do like that this brush guard is a little bit stouter. You have your hood stay right back here, so you just pick up a little bit, fold that lever forward, and then you just drop the hood down like normal, fold your brush guard back, and then tighten these back up. So now that we've walked through, like you kind of seen around the tractor, let's go ahead and see it doing a little bit of work, and you can see the you know, the capacity that the bucket has, and some of the you know, examples of power. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching. Just like I said, I just want to do a little review of this thing. I really love it so far. Again, besides those little things when we first purchased it, no complaints. Plenty of power on the loader. If anything, I just wish the machine had a little bit more weight, but that's what I get for going with the subcompact market. So stay tuned for quick hitch video. I'm going to show you about the modifications I had to do for that. And then, again, we talked about the tooth bar. That's pretty self-explanatory. And then we got a couple of implements over here. Maybe we'll do a walkthrough of some of those. Thanks, guys. See ya.
Cause I gotta stay.